Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Kane and I am applying for the Lifton Scholarship. I'm going to answer the questions 6 through 10 one at a time, and I will read the question as I answer them. So number 6, what motivates your participation in theater? This is such an interesting question because I don't know that I have a single answer or a single word for it, but I think that more than anything, it is knowing that I can be a catalyst toward making people, children especially, find pride and joy in themselves. And my favorite moment as a teaching artist, as a director, is the end of something, whether it's a class or a production or a lesson or a read through, whatever it is just seeing them have that moment of success, whether it's big, whether it's small, but saying like, I made this, I did this, and knowing that I am a facilitator and I can continue to help make that happen and help give them the tools to continue doing so is just what makes teaching and creating and working with youth and theater a pleasure. So I think, that's what motivates my participation. That and just creation. There's something so wonderful about having a job where we get to collaborate and we get to create and we get to be messy and we get to explore what it means to be together and to be making something. And again, I think that comes back to this satisfaction and this pride and just fostering sense of self. And all of that just really is what motivates me. Number 7, a performing arts project that I was involved in that I feel particularly passionate about. I want to talk about Rites of Spring, which is on my resume under Select Directing Experience. Rites of Spring is a partnership project between UCF and Orlando Repertory Theater. It happens every year. This year was the 15th annual, and it's a writing competition that is open to K through 12 students in Central Florida. They are given a prompt and invited to submit a one-page submission of any kind of writing. A poem, some kids send in drawings, a story, could be a haiku, could be just words on a page, anything that they want that speaks to the prompt. And our job as the graduate students in the TYA program is to take all of these submissions. This year we had 450 of them. And first we send them out and we ask people to read them and to give us back their favorites. I believe each person sends back 10 favorites. So from 450, we brought it down to still a pretty high number, I don't remember exactly. And from there, then we take those top, I believe it was about 65 or the rest. So we take all of those 65 and we break into roles. So my role was director, somebody else served as playwright, and he takes all of them and he takes a month and he turned it into an original musical. It had never been a musical before. And then it came to me to be directed. And my experience is directing youth. I've directed many a show in Palo Alto, but I have never worked with adults in this capacity before, and I didn't have new work experience, and I didn't have musical experience. I had done shows with music, but never a true musical. And so all of this came to me, and we have 3 weeks, and then we mount it for the public, for families of the people who are cast, and most importantly, for the students whose writing is being featured. And it's a celebration of, again, art and creativity and everything like that. And it was a challenge. We had almost no budget. We had rehearsals after class. We had actors with certain expectations. And we had youth in the show, and it was split evenly between 5 youth actors and 5 adult actors. And you have this pressure of honoring the playwright who's in the room with you and honoring these kids whose words you have and making sure that everyone's experience is the professional experience you want to be giving them, but knowing that I'm still learning throughout all of this. And it was such a difficult and a wonderful and ultimately positive experience. We were originally supposed to be in a proscenium, and we ended up performing in a thrust. And we found out about 2.5 weeks before we opened, which was about half a week into our rehearsal process, that we were going to be switched in the space. So everything was scrapped, and the thrust space we were in holds 336 people. And We opened at 8 o'clock, and at 7:30 on the night of, we were full. And we had 50 people standing. We had all graduate students up in the catwalk. It was one of the absolute most amazing experiences I have ever had, and just talk about getting inside the work, to just be able to sit there and say, why is this part of it? And what can we make of this? And how do the relationships and the characters build this show and take it beyond just a piece of writing and actually into something that when people leave the theater, it's going to stay with them, and it's going to stay with them because it was thought of by somebody and it means something to somebody. So it was really, we get to do it again next year, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to taking all the things that worked this year and all the things that didn't work and turning those around and seeing what we're going to come up with. Number 8, why are you seeking financial assistance? I feel like I should hold up a sign that says, I am a graduate student. But that is the most obvious answer to the question. Is this is tough. And I finished undergrad and I went directly into working as almost a full-time teaching artist. That was in 2014, and I wrapped up that when I started school in August of 2017. So with support from some nonprofit jobs, some administrative jobs that I would work, I used to calculate my mileage every year. I think I could drive from where I was living in Pacifica to Palo Alto with my eyes closed. I used to tell people I can name all 12 elementary schools in the Palo Alto Unified School District because it was a pleasure to teach at them. But knowing that the money is never the priority, but that it is a necessity. And so I'm seeking financial assistance to offer myself the stability of being able to create the work that I love, of continuing to learn about how to make the work the best it can be, and to support myself, to not have to worry about getting coffee on the way to rehearsal, and to not say, can I go to AAT this year, or is it just one conference, and will I be able to fly home for winter break? My family is still in California. So I'm seeking financial assistance to be able to continue to do grad school the best that I can, and to ultimately make my transition back into the professional working world in a few years the least stressful it can be. And 10, my plans for the future and how would a scholarship support those plans. I think I touched on that a little bit in the last answer. I think they kind of lend themselves to each other. But I am looking right now, I have 2 more years of school, but I am thinking about community engagement positions, about education director positions. I have gone back and forth with the pipe dream of having my own theater, especially a youth theater. I think that there's so much to be said between an education department in a traditional theater versus a theater that exists solely for youth purposes, whether it does all youth for youth shows, or whether it does TYU shows exclusively, or whether you have a happy medium. But I know that I want to be involved with something of that nature in the capacity, the exact capacity, I'm not sure yet. But my other thing that I really love, I find ways more often than not to use picture books and to use youth chapter books as inspiration, as influence, as support for whatever I'm working on. We actually just did a devised piece today based on Kevin Hankey's book called Waiting, and we took the inspiration, I brought it in, and I said, what do you think of when you're waiting? And we just sort of explored the idea of waiting and how waiting changes if you're with someone, and if you're playing with something, then are you really waiting or are you playing? And so it's a long-winded answer to the idea that my plans for the future are to continue to push the envelope, and to continue. It is more important to me than anything that I continue to teach and to work with youth. They're my favorite. I tell everyone I like under 12 and over 65. So I want to do things like put together bring a grandparent program where kids who don't have local grandparents and older people who don't have local grandchildren can meet each other at the theater and spend a day together enjoying the art and enjoying each other's company. So all of that is the plans in whatever capacity it takes shape in. And I think that it's what I said before, that a scholarship makes it so that I can go out and get the breadth of information, and I can travel, and I can take unpaid internships, and I can come home during the summer and visit Palo Alto. And I'm back this summer. I'm really looking forward to being around. But it does mean that I can pay for those tickets and that I can continue to do the work and not have to worry about not having an income right now. But yeah, Palo Alto Children's Theater was a blast to work for. My story drama classes that I taught at Mitchell Park were integral in sort of my foundation of learning that I like the interplay of literature and performance. So thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to talking with you further.